new to sewing clothes and looking for beginner-friendly projects that don't need a pattern, then this is the project for you. This adorable tie strap tank top is so cute for summer. It's all straight line sewing and there's no pattern needed. So if you're ready to rock this tank top, then let's see how to get started making it. Hi, my name's Abby, and before we jump into this tank top, I just want to say hi, and I'm so excited for you to start sewing your own clothes. Now, if you want to find more beginner-friendly sewing projects that don't need patterns, then be sure to subscribe below because I'm bringing you a whole summer series of beginner-friendly projects, no pattern needed. So be sure to subscribe if that works for you, if it would help you. Then let's do the first step to making this tank top. So for the first step, we're going to need a tape measure. And it's a loose, wavy one like this, not the kind used for construction. And we're just going to take some really loose measurements. It's going to take this and wrap it around the largest part of your chest. Okay, just close, nothing too precise, okay? It's a loose fit tank top. We're not stressing about this. So get close to what your measurement is. Then we're going to measure how long you want your tank top to be. So we're going to start somewhere just a little bit, like around where our armpit is, this little V here. We're going to measure from about there. Okay. And then decide how long you want this to be. It could definitely be a crop top. It could even be a dress to make it really long. Up to you. Okay. And if you're not sure, make it a little bit longer because it's easier to make this shorter than to add more fabric later. Okay. Once you have your measurements, we're going to do just a little bit of basic math. Okay. So first, we'll take the measurement you took around the largest part of your chest and we'll multiply it by 2. This will give you one side of your rectangle. For the second side, we're going to take the length that you measured, how long you want your shirt to be. Then we're going to add the ruffle height, which is just how tall of a ruffle you want, the width of the elastic you're using, and then also add 1.5 inches for hems. Here are the measurements that I used if you want to use the same ones, but these can be tweaked and changed to make whatever top you think looks the best. Whew. And now that that math is out of the way, we're going to take these new numbers that we have and draw 2 rectangles on our fabric. Now, if you can't get one big rectangle because your fabric's not wide enough, mine wasn't, then just cut out 2 rectangles. So when you put them together, they make this size. So now that we have this rectangle cut out of fabric, we need to zigzag stitch down the sides so that way our shirt doesn't unravel when we're washing or wearing it. So if you have one big rectangle, you're going to sew down 2 sides, your 2 shirt length sides. And if you have 2 rectangles, you'll be sewing 4 sides. Okay? Again, it's a little bit of extra work, but I know you can do this. So once you've zigzag stitched your sides, then we're going to connect our rectangles and make a big loop. So you're going to pin the side seams together. And again, if you have one big rectangle, you're just going to have 1 seam. And if you have 2 rectangles, you'll have 2 seams. Okay, the process is exactly the same. You might just have a little bit more work because you have more pieces of fabric. I had 2 rectangles. It's not a problem. You can do this. Okay, so now we have one big loop of fabric. It looks enormous, I know, don't worry. That's what makes it look so cute and ruffly in the end. So what we're going to do is pick one side to be our top. Now you've picked that side, we're going to fold it down towards the inside, 1/2 inch. Okay? Fold that down, pin it in place, and we're going to iron it. And now look how nice and pressed this is. Ah, perfect. Okay, so we're going to take that same side and we're going to fold it a second time. Now the reason we fold this twice is because we have this raw edge that's wanting to unravel. And if we fold it once, we can still see that raw edge. So this could still continue to unravel when we wash it and wear it, and we don't want that. So we fold this one more time, we see that raw edge gets tucked inside, we can't see it anymore, and now our project will be safe. Okay? So we're going to fold it a second time, but how far are we going to fold it? And that depends on how big your ruffle is and the width of your elastic. Now, like I said, I'm doing a 1-inch ruffle with a 3/4 inch wide elastic. So if you want your tank top to look just like mine, those are the sizes that we're going to be using, okay? So you can see it here. I'm just going to fold this down so that way I have this spot that's going to be for my elastic. Then I have this inch above that's going to become the ruffle. So now that we fold this down enough for whatever ruffle and elastic combination you're using, we're going to sew along this folded edge. Now, the trick here is that we're not going to sew all the way around. We're going to leave a 1-inch gap. So to make this really easy for you to see on camera, I'm going to put a green pin here and a pink pin here. So I'll start sewing at the green pin, I'll go all the way around to the pink pin and then stop. And that little inch space between the two pins, we'll leave it open because that's where we're going to insert the elastic for this project. Okay, so we'll go to the sewing machine, we'll sew all the way around. And then we're not quite done yet. We have to sew one more row of stitches, and this will separate the elastic from the ruffle. Okay, so if you need to, throw your elastic up on your fabric, like I'm doing here, and see where that line needs to be. Where does the needle need to sew in order to give you room for the elastic and the ruffle? So I have really nice lines on my fabric, but if yours doesn't, then make sure that you line up the edge of your fabric with something on your sewing machine to keep your space even the whole time you're sewing. Okay, so now that we know where to sew, it's time to actually do it. So we're going to sew all the way around, no gap. And now your project should look like this. Ah, perfect. You're doing so good. Okay, now comes the fun part. We're going to take our safety pin and our elastic, and we're going to put the safety pin onto the end of our elastic. And we'll push that safety pin up into the gap that we left when we were sewing. And we can just pull this safety pin and elastic train all the way through this channel that we just got done sewing. And you can already begin to see here where we have this nice little section where the elastic is, and we have this cute ruffle on top. Oh, I love this tank top. It's so cute. Okay, so we're gonna pull it all the way through, and when the safety pin comes back out of the same gap, we're going to pin the elastic together and try this on. Okay, this is the time to see if that elastic feels good, if it's too big, if it's too small. Change the length, repin it. This is just a chance for you to make sure this is comfortable. Okay, so adjust the length of the elastic until you like it, until it feels good for you. Then we're going to sew this elastic together. To do that, we're going to pin it. and then we will sew using a zigzag stitch. If you're not sure how to use a zigzag stitch, check out this video linked above or down in the description where I show you exactly how to set up your sewing machine for the zigzag stitch. Now, once our elastic is nice and secure, we're just going to trim off any extra thread and elastic, make it really nice and clean like this, and then just pull it up into the elastic channel. Now that it's hiding up there, we're just going to sew this gap closed by holding it nice and taut, like this, and sewing a straight line connecting what we already sewed earlier. So here you can see where I stopped stitching at the pink pen. I'll just put that under my needle, sew back and forth to lock this in, and then just sew straight until I reach my other row of stitches. It's that easy. And now look at this, it's so cute. It's almost wearable already. Ah, how excited are you? This is like the point in the project where I just start wearing it. Like I don't even bother finishing and I just wear it like this for a day or two. What other sewing questions do you have? We are working our way through this tank top, but I'm sure other sewing questions are coming up. So if you have other questions, let me know down in the comments and I will make a future video just for you. Now that we have the ruffly part done, we need to put some straps on this. And straps are actually really easy. We're just going to cut out a rectangle of fabric, and these can really be any size you want. So it's really fun to actually play around with this and try different sizes. But just for your reference, for my project, my rectangles were this size as shown on screen. And I cut out 4 of them. Now, if you're wanting to have a nice smooth strap where it's just one piece of fabric connected front to back, like this, you'll only need 2 rectangles. But if you actually want to be able to tie these, then you're going to need 4. You're going to need 2 on each side to tie together. Okay, so which one are you going to be doing? Are you going to do 2 straps or 4? Let me know in the comment. Let's see which one is more popular. Okay, then let's see how to start making these. So for the straps, we're going to make a rectangle and we're going to fold it in half like a hot dog. And then we're going to sew along this hot dog, this longer edge. We're going to sew all the way down. And then we're going to, again, grab that safety pin. We're going to clip it to the side of our strap. And we're going to push it inside. And what we're trying to do by doing this is we're trying to turn the strap inside out, or right side out, sorry. So push a safety pin in, pinch the safety pin, pull the fabric along, and keep going. This is just like we did with the elastic, okay? Repeating this process, making it faster and easier for you. And then this is where the real magic happens. When the safety pin comes out the other side, you just grab this big hunk of fabric and just tug it, and you feel like a magician. You're just pulling it, and ta-da! The fabric is right side out. I really like that part. It makes me very excited. So we're going to repeat this for all the straps. Then we need to iron this because right now it's quite, I want to say rough and ready. It's quite lumpy looking. So we want to get nice and flat and smooth. Now, my trick here is that I try to take the edge where we have sewn that seam and line it up on the edge of the strap and then iron it like this. That way, there's no seam on either side. So when we tie our strap together, there's no seam showing on the bottom or the top. It's just completely hidden. It's such a good trick. So make sure that you iron your straps like this. Then we're going to use that same zigzag stitch that we did on the elastic and we're going to zigzag stitch along one edge of our straps. Okay? Ah, this is going so quickly, so fun. Now, we're going to take the zigzag edge of our straps, we're going to put it down into our tops, and then pin these where we think we want them. Now again, this is a great time to try your project on. Sewing your own clothes is a lot of sewing part, putting it on, sewing apart, putting it on. It's part of the creative process and letting you truly become the designer. So try these on, move them around. Maybe you want them at an angle, maybe you want them straight up and down, close in the middle, far apart, totally up to you. But once you kind of get them where you want them, then pin them in place. Okay? Once you have them pinned in, we're going to sew them in. So you want to make sure that the zigzaggy bottom edge is lined up with that bottom row of stitches. And then we're going to use some pins, and we're just going to pin some of these ruffles into place to make sure everything stays right where it should be while we're sewing. Once everything's pinned in, we'll go to the sewing machine, and we're just going to stitch directly on top of our 2 rows of stitches, okay? This will make it completely hidden. You won't see it at all, but it will hold your straps nice and secure. So we're gonna sew along one line and then the other. And now your strap is nice and secure. Oh my gosh, the top is almost done. If you're only sewing 2 straps, then you're going to want to sew in one side of your straps. Then try this on again and pin in the back to make sure it's the length that you want. Okay? And once you have the length correct, then you're going to want to look at the inside and cut off any excess. Okay? Once you've cut it off, zigzag the ends like we did before, and then sew this, just like you did with the other side of the strap. Easy peasy. Now, if you have 4 straps, you're going to pin them all in, you're going to sew all of them just like they are. Then you can try this on, tie it, see if the length is how you want it, get it exactly right, and if you need to, cut off any excess. But if they're a good length for you, then to finish these ends, we're going to actually tuck the fabric into the strap just a little bit, about a ½ inch. Then we're going to sew right along the edge to make this a nice, clean, finished end for your strap. Okay? Ah, how cute is it? Now you can tie this, or if you don't have ties, it just looks gorgeous and clean and minimal. Oh, the last and final step before you can start wearing this is to hem the bottom. And you guys, this is so easy. You're going to be done in like 10 seconds. So all you need to do is take the bottom edge, fold it up once, fold it up twice, and you know why. We're folding it twice, right? So that raw edge is tucked in, and then we're going to sew all along the bottom, and bam, you have an adorable summer top. It really is that easy, and I hope that you love it. Let me know down in the comments what else you would like to learn how to make on this channel. And if you're ready for your next sewing project, then check out one of the ones that are on screen now. Whatever you decide, happy sewing. Oh, and enjoy your tank top.